So I'd like to start, if we can dial it back a minute. And Ms. Dalton, do you believe that national security, the border security is a national security issue?
It's a homeland security issue.
Do you think it's a national security issue?
We have national security
Yes
interests
or no?
in
It's a really
border.
simple question. Yes or no?
We have national security interests in a secure
So
border.
yes? You're not going to answer? Yes or no?
We have national security
Okay,
interests
all
in
right,
a secure
thank you.
border.
Such simple questions, just such simple questions. That exchange between our next guest and the Acting Assistant Secretary of Defense, Melissa Dalton, emphasizing the left's lack of concern about the national security crisis that's at our southern border and has been going on now for more than 2 years. Joining me now to discuss, Texas Congressman Pat Fallon, retired U.S. Air Force captain and member of the Armed Services and Oversight Committees. Congressman, why is it so tough? Why can't we just get a yes or no answer to these questions?
You know, Rob, that's a great question in and of itself. You know, and what I was making a point was on the Armed Services Committee 2 years ago, I had a very simple amendment to the National Defense Authorization Act, which said just what the question I had asked this woman, which was, is border security a national security issue? It did pass, but every Republican voted for it and 5 Democrats voted with us, but 26 Democrats voted against it. So the overwhelming majority of Democrats in Congress do not believe that border security is a national security issue. It's startling.
I'm stunned. We'll see what effect that plays when everybody's running for re-election again in 2024, because the problem's only going to get worse. The Biden administration apparently trying to stop some of this. They're going to bring back this Trump-era policy of detaining migrant families who cross the border illegally. And when I saw that, I thought, great, but is this just... We're talking about 5 million plus people that we know about that have crossed the border illegally under Joe Biden's watch. Is this too little too late?
Yeah, it's just window dressing, and 70% of the folks that are crossing the border now are single adults. And so this, again, we need to tell the American people the tale of the tape, and thank you for having me on. So the worst month we've ever had, the worst January we ever had, was this January. It was 156,000 illegal border crossings, but it was far more than that because now they're granting parole if you're from Haiti, Cuba, Nicaragua, or Venezuela. So the prior month, in December, it was 251,000 illegal crossings, which was the worst month we've ever had in our history.
Yeah.
We've had 23 months in a row, Rob, of over 150,000 illegal crossings, and we had 10 months in a row of over 200,000, and we never had that until Joe Biden took off.
Some fascinating sound by FBI Director Christopher Wray yesterday. Let's listen.
We're not able to keep tabs on every single person who comes in. Certainly, we have all sorts of investigations into certain people who get in, and we try to work very hard on both sides of the border to support DHS's efforts and to some extent our neighbors south of the border from preventing them from coming in.
Congressman, how scary is that? We're not able to keep tabs on people that cross the border. More than 5 million people have crossed the border. And I'm telling you, this is not the best and the brightest crossing the border down there by and large. How scary is a soundbite like that from the director of the FBI?
It's chilling because we've had now, under Joe Biden, almost 6 million people cross the border illegally in the last 2+ years. And we don't know who these people are, Rob. You know, one interesting thing that we talked about yesterday in committee was there were about 30,000 Russian nationals that have crossed the border in the last fiscal year.
Right.
We don't know. And let's just say, honestly, 1% of them were sleeper agents. We don't know that to be true, but that's 300. And if it's been happening year over year, we could have literally a battalion of Russian agents in this country. And never mind that, there's been 160 countries represented by people crossing the border illegally in the past couple of years.
You're on armed services. You served our country. Thank you for that, sir. Listen, the cartels are killing Americans to the tune of about 300 a day, overdosing on fentanyl. They're killing Americans in America. Now they're killing Americans in Mexico. Friday, 4 people were kidnapped right over the border in Texas, your home state. 2 were killed. 2 are back on U.S. soil. Should the U.S. military be used in some way, shape, or form to try and stop these cartels, dismantle these cartels?
Yes, I signed on the legislation to target particularly the Sinaloa cartel because they are a clear and present danger to the United States of America. I asked that in committee yesterday, and the commander in NORTHCOM agreed with me that they are. And if they are, then we need to use every measure we can to keep Americans safe, because if you're not safe, then you're not free.
Yeah, they're doing it in other countries, too. Texas Congressman Pat Fallon, good to see you. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. God bless.
All right.